Welcome to episode 62 of How About Them Huskies. I'm Connor, and we got the whole crew today, Andrew and Matt. And this might be our most exhilarating episode, perhaps out of all of our 62. This is the most important one. We're going to be recapping the win over Georgetown and previewing the game against DePaul. It's a tough stretch in the Husky schedule. Two teams on the road makes it even tougher, but I mean, come on. Huskies went into DC on Saturday, won by 25, 89 to 64. The first half, they scored 52 points alone. The second half was a little closer. I was watching on and off in the second half, didn't catch it all, but it was a little closer. But either way, we expected this going in. Actually, we kind of didn't because Georgetown seems to always play us close-ish. But this is the outcome that should certainly have happened against a team that's 1-11 in conference play, which somehow isn't the worst team in the conference. But what was your guys' reaction to that game? Obviously, a blowout. Not much to say, but how do you guys feel?
Yeah, and this kind of went how I was sort of expecting with our guys back. Obviously, Klingon didn't make the game last time, so it was good to have him back. He obviously made an impact on the defensive end. Got 25 minutes, so he broke that 20-minute threshold. But everybody performed up to standard. I mean, even the guys who didn't really perform, Tristan Newton only took 3 shots. Cam Spencer, 10 points, only took 6 shots. Klingon only took 4 shots. So it's like, maybe their numbers weren't great, but they did what they needed to do. And there was a very obvious game plan going into this game. So it was great to see just a dominant win.
And this wasn't going to be a numbers game. This wasn't going to be the whole starting five has double digits in every category because we would have had to score so many points. But it was a game where really everybody contributed to their best ability. Like we were talking about before we came on the air, Castle was 17 points, but not many assists. But a guy like DC had 6 assists. So it's a game where everybody can. Obviously, we weren't picked to lose or anything, but it was a game where everybody really needed to contribute, and we did. And we just beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, that 6 assists from Klingon, that's something I didn't think we'd ever see. I remember he had like 3 assists before the first media timeout. It's just he keeps on finding it's Caravan who does the backdoor cuts. It just works every time. Defenses don't know how to stop it. But yeah, I mean, he only had 4 points, Klingon, but he's a guy that doesn't need to score double figures, even though he can on any night because he just has that talent. But we're fine with him scoring four, especially in a game like this. But you mentioned Newton kind of struggled. I saw online that he was banged up. He kind of played this game hurt. He only took 3 shots, so clearly probably has something to do with his shooting. It was a right hand injury, so probably has something to do with his shooting. But he's not shooting the ball. He still has 9 assists. So having that option, oh, we're just gonna have our All American not shoot this game and win by 25. I mean, that's not something every team in the country can say they have. Let's go over the box score real quick before we kind of move on. Caravan just loves playing against Georgetown. He balled out against them in Hartford earlier in the year. He had 25 points, 4 threes in DC the other day. I mean, Castle's a pretty quiet 17 points, but he went 8 for 11 from the field, 1 or 2 from three. His shooting has really improved over the past month or so. That was his main weakness, the team's main weakness, honestly, because there's not a lot of weaknesses on this team. You could say it is Castle's 3-point shooting. He's up to 32% on the season. He's only made 11 of them, but I feel like out of those 11, like 9 are in the past 5 games or something like that. So he's certainly improved in that department significantly. Who else we got here? Cam Spencer, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, we had 3 guys have 6 or more assists, and one of them was not our All-American point guard coming in, Stephon Castle, who had 0. I mean, the ball movement on this team, 26 assists, 33 made field goals is just that's championship level stuff. We see that last year with Jackson and Newton both balling out in the tournament, getting assists. You got to move the ball to win games. Georgetown doesn't do a great job of that. They only had 10 assists on 23 field goals, but I don't want to compare us to Georgetown. You guys got anything else from this game, honestly? I mean, we could look at the bench real quick just to see who produced. Hassan Diarra had 6 points, 4 or 7 from the free throw line. Samson Johnson, 10 points, 5 of 5 shooting in 12 minutes. Stewart was out there. He had 5 points, solo ball, hit a three. Apostles Rumaglu hit a three. He's shooting 50% from distance this season, which leads the team, I believe. Unless Andrew Hurley has him. I should check that. I'm going to check that live right here. Let's see. I know this is so exciting. Who leads the team? Nope, it's Rumaglu, 50%. There you go. But yeah, just overall, when Pastas Rumaglu makes a three, it's a good day to be a Huskies fan. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned Samson Johnson, who coming off the bench played, I'd say, spectacular. Perfect 5 of 5, 10 points, just all around the rim. Pulled down 3 boards. I think all of his points were on dunks. The dude couldn't be stopped. And when he's kind of in that mode where he doesn't really care and he's just flying towards the rim, it's a really good sign.
I just think it's really weird that back-to-back years we've had Georgetown first at home and a packed crowd of our passionate fans, and we've played like crap both times. And we go on the road. Last year we didn't play so good, but this year we kicked the crap out of them on the road. So I just don't get it why we played so good and then so bad against Georgetown. But it's also just really sad to see what that program's become. I mean, what was a Big East powerhouse is now a can hardly fill 35% of the arena. So it's kind of sad to see what Georgetown basketball has become. And honestly, I hope that Cooley can turn it around with guys in the recruiting class like Kayvon Mulready and guys like that. Hopefully they get some transfers because like Hurley said about St. John's, a good Georgetown is also good for the Big East. So I hope they make some kind of comeback, honestly.
Yeah, I expect them to be decent this year. Decent is in like eighth or ninth in the conference. Still not an NCAA tournament team, but I feel like just Ed Cooley alone is better than 1-11. But they've just been a mess all year. They're not as bad as the team we're going to talk about in a moment here. But yeah, all in all, I didn't see this coming. I probably should have because the history they've had. But I thought Ewing's gone. It's a fresh start. They're going to be at least halfway decent in a Big East that is honestly pretty top heavy. There's a lot of middle of the pack teams, but that's not the case. Now it's time to move on to one of the more interesting games on the schedule this season, a Valentine's Day thriller in Chicago against the DePaul Blue Demons. DePaul, we saw them once already this year. They are winless in Big East play. They are the worst power conference team in America. I feel like by far that Louisville is better than them. Well, I feel like I don't remember who won that game. They played. How do I forget the outcome of that game? Let me see. They did beat Louisville, but they're 3-20, and one of their wins is over Louisville. Maybe Louisville's worse, who knows? But staying on track here, we played them earlier in January. We won by 30 points, 85-56. I mean, I don't even know if it's even worth previewing this game, but we got to provide the content for you guys. I mean, the first matchup, Spencer had 20, Caravan 17, Castle had 14, Klingon, he was still out at the time, so Johnson chipped in 8 points and 4 blocks. It was just we dominated them from start to finish. I expect the same thing on Wednesday.
I mean, the only thing that's different is now Tony Stubblefield is not with the team anymore, technically. He is out. They have their interim head coach. But I mean, yeah, it's we all know what's gonna happen. But I do just want to shout out our sponsor for two reasons. One, because I mean we need to, but two, because I find this pretty interesting. If you want to go to this game, you can sit 4 rows up from the court, right across from the Connecticut bench for $57. In Hartford or stores, that's a $400 ticket. And if you use our code HBTH, that's a $37 ticket. So if you're around Chicago, around the area, you want to sit 4 rows up or 4 rows away from the Connecticut bench, go ahead and use our code and SeatGeek will take care of you. But I just find that insane. I mean, tickets are starting at $9 for this game, and you can sit courtside for 150. So if you want to go see us absolutely destroy DePaul, use our code HBTH.
And I just did a little bit of research on DePaul here. Their past four games, not games. They played Creighton, Seton Hall, Xavier, and St. John's. So that's some mediocre to good talent in the Big East. Those are some good teams all the way to like the middle of the pack. They have lost these games by a combined 119 points. So not only are they 0-12, but they're terribly 0-12. If it could get even worse. They fired their coach halfway through the season. It's really ugly. If we lose this game, this podcast may cease to exist. You might not hear from us, but yeah, I mean, we should just expect another blowout. I don't like to talk like that. I don't like to say that we're gonna come in and we're just gonna wipe the floor. But that's what's gonna happen. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we might see some solid minutes out of Andrew Hurley, maybe 5 or more. So that's my prediction for the game. I think it's like we beat him up, but it's not like a massacre. I'd say probably like 25.
Well, I'm looking at their game log here, DePaul. They only lost by 3 on the road against Georgetown, 68-65, and they get Georgetown in a couple of weeks at home. So if they don't win that game, they are going 0-20. We'll just leave it at that. But you mentioned the streak they were on, at least the last 4 when they've been getting killed. In the game against Seton Hall, they scored 39 points the whole game. That's less than a point a minute. I mean, we scored what, 89, 80 something, high 80s against Georgetown. I mean, that 39 is crazy. That's like a bad half for us, you could say. I remember I saw a clip from that game at the very end. I don't know if you guys saw this. It was like a Seton Hall player missed a free throw, and the DePaul player like just got the rebound and just like tossed it out of bounds like it went in. Did you guys see that clip? Yeah, I wish I could show it on here, but I don't want to risk any copyright or anything, even though it's a DePaul basketball clip. That was just very funny to see. That kind of sums up their season as a whole. But I think we can just jump into players to watch for this one. There's not much more to say. You guys want to go first, and I'll round it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Andrew Hurley just because I want to see good minutes. That's it.
I gotta stick with my pattern. I mean, the last game Spencer had 10 and now he's gonna go for 20, but I want to introduce a new segment for DePaul games only, and it's gonna be a bench player to watch. I'm gonna go with Apostolus because I think he's gonna have 8 points. That's what I'm gonna go with.
I was low key gonna go with Apostolus for my player to watch, but I guess I'll go with Donovan Clingan just because he impacted the game so much with 4 blocks and 6 assists, but he only scored the 4 points. Like I said, we don't need him to score more than that again, a game like this, but it'd be nice. It'd be nice for him to kind of pad his stats a little bit and get into double figures. So I really want to go Apostolus, but to mix it up, I'll go Donovan Clingan. Why not? It's a tough second place, but we'll roll with it. And I think that'll do it here. This might be our shortest episode we've ever done, especially in this format of a recap and a preview. But if you want to know more about these games, we're just gonna win against DePaul. That's easy. Well, I've never been this confident before, even though we're gonna lose now. But Georgetown, we all knew we were gonna win. We won by 25. We haven't lost in the new year. It's not gonna be on the road to DePaul. I feel like that's my final thoughts here. If it's the first loss of the new year, 2024 is at DePaul. Danny Hurley might be headed to Kentucky. We might be done with him. Kentucky might be opening up. I don't know. I'm rambling on here at the end, but that's all I got. Look for another episode later in the week. We're going to be previewing the game against the top 5 Marquette team. They're up to number 4 in the country. It's going to be a great atmosphere at the XL Center on Saturday. So look out for a full preview. Honestly, probably even longer than this episode here, but that's all we got. Thanks for watching.